and we start the last session for the day. And we will begin with the presentation titled Camouflage Object Detection that will be presented by Daria Shevchenko. Daria, if you're ready, you can start.
Okay, thank you. Hello. So today I'm going to talk about feature representation refinement for camouflage object detection task. And I would like to start with the definition. Camouflage object detection focuses on identifying objects that are visually planted into the background. The difference between general objects and them is that they lack clear contrast and boundaries. And in my research, I will focus on this task as a segmentation task. For example, here we can see the example of these images. First bird a white, and it's white, and the background also a white. And that make it difficult for general models to identify this bird. Let's move to the breakdown importance of this task. And the first thing that is remote sensing. And here we will see two images from the back of them. The first one is the soldier that is hiding inside trees, and it's difficult even for humans to identify it. So we will try to explore how to manage this. And the second one is the tank that is covered by net and also blended into the code. The second application is connected to robotics. So it covers drones, cars, some other types of robots. And here we can see the image of drone from the drone. Also, can notice some camouflaged people, camouflaged tank, some cars that are camouflaged. So it's another application. Another one is medical imaging. It includes different type of medical imaging, but here we can see the images of lungs with some diseases, and we can see this region with damaged region are really blended into this image, and this healthy regions and damaged one also are quite similar. So my research motivation is that when we talk about general segmentation, the results are usually accurate. But when we talk about camouflaged objects, this method works badly. And if we manage to handle this task, we will successfully solve that practical issues. Let's move to the related work. And the first thing I want to talk about is UNET. UNET is quite widely known as like baseline approach to segmentation, where we have encoder and decoder, and where semantic representation are first extracted. Later, we will see that a lot of methods try to improve this feature representations in different ways. Also, I would like to mention Dino. If UNET focus more on local changes, Dino provides like global representations to improve semantic understanding. And however, when it comes to camouflaged object, it still struggles because we need to clarify these boundaries, these subtle details, and it's interesting just to explore how this obstacle of Dino could be managed, and to use this semantic Dino richer representations, and to apply it to our task. As I said, many approaches aim to improve this feature representation for this task in different ways. And the first method, MDVM, adapts a multi-view paradigm and argument input images to create more advanced features, and this way to improve general results of segmentation. However, this method also has some limitations. We can notice computational cost, and also it doesn't scale well to other tasks. ZoomNet is another approach that can be used, but ZoomNet uses like zoom transformation. And we also can see on this architecture that they put different zoom transformations, and in that extract features and CMAT use them to get more advanced feature. MS-NAT uses similar to ZoomNet scale transformation, but with visual encoder. Often relies on additional tags. So their idea is that, for example, we have the image of the crab, and we want to camouflage crab, and we just give the information that it is correct for the model, use this, and as a result, get some advanced feature. FRMNet improves feature representation by using additional information reference image. So the difference with the previous one is that we have, for example, the image of some flash doc, and we give the model also images of some general docs where the contrast between images are clearly defined. And that's how we improve the semantic and improve this feature. And as a result, we get better segmentation. All these methods have some their limitations, and the general their limitation is that they require some images, some text, and it limits its scalability. Also, they do not really change how feature are learned, so their performance also limited. So it all leads us to the research lab. The main idea is that Dino, as we discussed, have richer semantic, and it can enhance discuss methods, but it also important to explore Dino features and understand how they can better tell apart some subtle differences, and also combine these features from different views with these transformer-based embeddings to improve the result of the segmentation. Another idea is that some approaches like FSL shows that feature quality can be improved by high-frequency information. So not only some additional information, but also some transformation inside the model architecture. And this helps to mitigate corrupted feature by enhancing fine-grained details without requiring some external data. Two research questions. So the first one, what modification can improve Dino effectiveness for camouflaged object detection? The second, how can the performance of the final model be improved without relying on this input? How do transformer-based models improve global complex modeling for camouflage object detection? And how does multi-view feature fusion affects background suppression and boundary elevation? Now about experimental setup. I decided to focus on a Cochrane Southern dataset, and it is like widely known dataset that is used by all that method, and it's important to use just the same dataset in order to have the same metric and the same baseline for comparison. And the data contains diverse animal species. So we can have fish, some tigers, some other mammals, a lot of them with the bird blended into the background, and even for human, it's very difficult to notice this subtle difference. Metric, I decided to focus on S measure as main metric for comparison. Why is that? Because S measure focuses on structural similarity between prediction and ground truth. And it checks whether the object predicted as a whole shape, not in some broken pieces. And it also can give high score if the whole shape is correct, even with some small errors, but penalize some mask and missing details. So these details can be like spider lag or something like that. So it can be important for camouflaged object detection. Moving to early results, I decided to check Dino representations and Dino features in order to compare how it works in different scenarios. And here we can see first scenario with birds that are really have good contrast, and we can see that the features define this quite well, while this frog that camouflage really difficult to notice the subtle differences and boundaries. So these previous practical results support the theoretical understanding and the proposed direction. To wrap it up, different methods improve features in different ways, but typically focus on something in one. They have different limitations, like computational costs, relying on different text information, etc. It always limits scalability. So to overcome this limitation, I decided that future work could combine transformer-based semantic embeddings with multi-view feature fusion in single framework, and also exploring how high-frequency information can enhance model representation and improve final segmentation performance. So thank you for your attention, and now let's move to the question.
Yeah, maybe I can start. For example, if we consider camouflaged object detection, as you mentioned, as one of the subfields, for example, in the military domain, what we can have not just one picture, but actually video stream. So I don't know, maybe have you considered also this direction, not only say one frame, but multiple frames? Because if we have some object, say a car which is parked and camouflaged, okay, it's stable, but maybe like people or some other vehicles, they can also move. Maybe this can be also like potential
extra information.
Yes.
Yes, it sounds interesting. However, in my research, I focused more on segmentation, like in a stable environment. And I also like if you have some multiple objects, we can still use this segmentation. But if it's video, I think it's a little bit different domain from mine. I didn't explore it yet.
Okay. Yes, Madam.
Not the same, but a similar question that the balance of applicability of things you apply to the. Well, just imagine that we take this photo with a dog who is camouflaged. No. And make same photo in infrared.
Yes.
Which is decamouflaging using a different perception channel, isn't it?
Yes.
Why not using such a simple way to decamouflage and perfectly detect an object?
Yes, but it works well with some alive objects like a dog or a non-human being. But with, for example, cars, tanks, etc., it can be.
Okay, well, if they are having the engines on,
yes, but
they will be one. This is the way how, well, the military decamouflage different targets using this night vision binoculars or binoculars. And in medicine, in medical image processing, people use contrasting chemicals just to make it more contrasting to decamouflage the tissue. And different tissues, depending on their state, they just take more or less of this chemical, and therefore are contrasting differently.
Thank you for your point.
Have you ever thought about making something like that, but purely by softness, by assembly?
Thank you for your comment. I also consider this issue that we have like different ways to identify and segment samples. However, still, it seems like this area of applicability exists because, for example, the car should have the engine on. So I just think that it's important maybe to explore a little bit a broader perspective for this application.
Okay. That wasn't really a question, that was just
Yes, so
just
this is not like a comment to your work or new direction to look into, but just you know, if we consider the task, solving a task in general, so what you are doing, you're solving the task in a visual domain. So if you would just emphasize this enough, probably we wouldn't ask these questions. Yes, so this is just okay. So yeah, this is
and somewhat related to what Adam asked. Three RGB layers can have extra information separately than after fusion. Didn't you take that into consideration? I mean, that different objects have different spectra, and therefore, even though after combining three channels, they seem similar to the background, but at some specific layer, this difference can be more visible.
So their idea is that RGB, dividing on these RGB layers will provide extra information.
Yes.
I consider that, but I decided to focus on high frequency information just because I think that problem could be not with color, but with textures, with like subtle boundaries. And I think the high frequency information can give more than just RGB.
But it can still perform high frequency on each layer.
But it's interesting idea. I think it's worth maybe to try.
Okay, so any questions? Thank you, Daniel. So the next word is improving illumination change robustness for event-based vision models in single object tracking by Sergey Yakemenko.
Okay, so the topic of my project is improving illumination change robustness for event-based vision models in single object tracking. So what is an event camera? Unlike a traditional camera that captures full frames, event camera works as a biological sensor that reacts only if it was some changes in the scene. This approach gives such advantages: high temporal resolution, high dynamic range, and no motion blur. On the picture, you can see the difference, the motion of car and how it differs. Here, I also would like to demonstrate how to work event camera in motion. Left part is event camera, right part is traditional camera. On the right part, we see nothing, but on the left part, we see how rockets is launched. Even its brightness, we have some changes in lighting in pixels, and that's why we see how rockets is moves. Type of event cameras. There exist two types of event cameras. First one, it's event only based camera. It collect only events. And the second type is a hybrid camera. it collects events and traditional frames simultaneously. How event looks? Event consists of 4 parameters. First one, timestamp. Second and third, it's pixels coordinates and polarity. If brightness grows up, we put 1. If brightness go down, we put 0. Here you see approximately 11 million events, and these events for 64 seconds. Data representation. It could be 2 types of representation. First one, it's event frame. We collect events for some time period and make such event frame. If it's you see blue, it's a positive polarity. If it's red, it's negative polarity. And also voxel grid. It's also the same timestamp, but we add a third component. It's time, and we can see represent our event in 3D picture. Next one is we could come across with such problem if absence of event camera. And it exists some tool, video to events. Original paper it looks like V2E. And how it works? RGB video modify to grayscale video. Then neural network super slow mode performs frame interpolation, generating extra frames between the original ones to simulate high temporal resolution. The grayscale values are converted to logarithmic scale, mimicking how a real event camera works. And then we apply a nonlinear low-pass filter to avoid some noise, needless noise. And after all, we generate events that have the 4 parameters as we get from usual camera, event camera, Israeli event camera. The key parameters of this tool is next. Its condition, it can be noisy, clean. Also, its threshold. Threshold is what the if we have brightness up, for instance, we put threshold 0.2 and it's more than 0.2, it we detect the events. If it's less than 0.2, we skip it. It could be some noise. Input frame rate, it is FPS. Usually it's 30 FPS because event camera around 30 FPS. I just checked from real data. It's approximately 28, 30, something like this. Timestamp resolution and output mode. Output mode, it means different resolution according to camera. Here I would like to demonstrate the difference at the center. We see the frames, event frames generated from real data. And on the right part, it's event frames generated from RGB video to events. As you see, it's almost identical. And this means we can use such approach in our research. Okay, next, what could be the problem? The event camera is sensitive to illumination. Is illumination, abrupt illumination changes. and it make a lot of noise, and as consequences, bounding box drift, and we can lose our object. Here I would like to demonstrate how object could lose. Green bounding box, it's ground truth. Red and blue, it's predicted bounding box from different trackers. And you see in such mode, bounding box are drifted, or as we see with red box, it's just fly up. It's a real problem. So also I would like to talk a few words about trackers. As I mentioned, we have two types of camera, event-based and hybrid trackers, and hybrid cameras, and as well we have two types of trackers. Here's example of IMT tracker. It is a hybrid tracker. On input we got two types of data, event frames and regular frames. And the main some point in this architecture is visual layers of visual transformers with Hopfield layers. Hopfield layer is a neural network with associative memory. It memorizes patterns from previous frames and retrieves them when one of the modalities degrades. And second one, it's event-only tracker. At the input, we have just events, and put in this architecture that main component is spiking neural networks. Next one, it is some results from my experiments. I took 5 videos with different range. First one is flash flicker, as you see on the video previously. Then I made magnify the range and make such a table. At the score, it's PR and SR. PR is precision rate. It is mean that the half center coincide with ground truth. If it's more than 20 pixels, we just skip it. If it's less, we have one. It's okay. And success rate, it's intersect over union, and the threshold was taken 0.6. We can see that score for only for precision rate for blue tracker is okay, but it's not enough matrix, because it could be on all picture, on all frame, on all screen, and it could be wrong. It's better to see intersect over union, and we can see that all trackers is score less than 0.5. Okay, next one is what the works was done previously with such problem. Here the comb filter. The authors process each pixel independently. The filter tracks whether its signal repeats at a known frequency. So beforehand, we have to put frequency, and if it's coincide with given frequency, they just remove the signal. But it has some weaknesses. It firstly, we can't know the frequency beforehand for sure. And second one, it could be remove some positive signals, some needed signals. Next one, I would like a few words about our dataset. We didn't find appropriate benchmark, and that's why we decided to make our benchmark. And it's some points about it. Firstly we put different frequencies, each sequence duration 8-12 seconds. We would like to have 100 or 120 sequences, and as well it will be different objects. What could be the possible improvements? It could be two main improvements. First one is redetection patch, and second one to update to the flickering. First one, redetection. We would like to use a Kalman filter and predict some position of our object, and if it's significant difference, we would like to make bigger search template, and if it still can't find, we would like to use previous features to find our object. Next one is deflickering. In the previous work, the periodicity of flicker is predefined beforehand. We propose to calculate statistic from a set of previous events, estimate if we have global flicker, filter out global flicker, and if events are near the target and resembles the pattern around the event, don't filter out. Ablation study. Evaluate two types of different hybrid and event trackers on our benchmark. Implement reduction and deflickering. Implement our two proposals separately and together, then benchmark and analyze performance, how it worked. Thank you for your attention.
I have several.
This
Yeah, I'd like to share my impression of the presentation, and I just need 3 words. I am lost.
Okay.
Just because my perception is that the slides are nice, they are informative, but they do not form a coherent story in your presentation. And don't no questions. So my first question is, what is the objective of your project? What do you want to achieve?
I would like to improve tracking under severe illumination changes. If we have we have very noise event frames. If it's severe changes.
This is clear. Just one sentence is enough. Look further. Having this objective, what is your background? Where you start from?
You mean what's the previous work? Yes.
Yes, I'm just trying to find out that was the state of the art before you started doing this work, and this is the background. This is your individual contribution to the state of the art, which closes the gap. And What is the feeling of confidence that the objective will be reached?
Confidence about objective.
Yes. So far, I have a very little confidence on that. Because, yeah, you're talking about deflickering, you're talking about something else. And those methods are presented in isolated manner. I don't know why they need this and why they need that, and how they compose into your contributions. That's why I'm asking the question.
As you see, according to this matrix, it's quite low. And we would like to improve to make bigger such scope, such results. About the confidence, it's a good question, and I believe we could improve it. But also, I think if I tell you confidently, yes, I will reach the positive result, it would be something not smart.
I will be happy to believe you if you provide arguments in favor of that. See? Thank you for coming to this slide. Here you said our threshold is 0.6.
I owe you, yes.
I mean here.
Okay, well, let's.
I owe you, yeah, in intersection of the unit. I'm looking at the diagram, and I have a feeling that this threshold has not has been chosen opportunistically, and you did not explain the choice of this very value of this threshold. Why 0.6?
Why 0.7? Because it's a common practice in computer vision for such metrics.
And why? I'm sorry for stupid questions. I'm not in computer vision. Can you offer a reason for this common practice? Why is it a common practice?
Okay. Because if we put, for instance, higher than 0.6, we have less matrix as we see now, and it you mean is 0.7? It's 70% that the object was found, and if we skip this score, it could be wrong.
0.6 is 60%.
I'm talking if you might know.
No.
And if you just imagine 70% of coverage, it's quite high. On this side,
I would say 96% of the threshold is quite fast threshold, isn't it?
yes, but we don't have anything if we put 0.9.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. What's that?
I don't have.
Yes, I may have one again, maybe very stupid question, but
I don't think it's a stupid questions.
Why not using just optical flow for detecting the motion? And then you have event.
Yes, it's a good point to use such. I didn't think previously about it, but it could be.
You have sequence of frames, and you want to detect motion.
But I don't believe that. I don't think that it could be work with events.
Why not? Event is just change.
Yes.
So optical flow is to detect the change. So why not?
Okay. Okay. Maybe it's would be a good reason to check it.
And also at the very beginning, you on these four, you have 4 columns, and the last one was 0 or 1, and you said that this polarity, yes. So 1 indicates increased intensity and 0 decreased intensity. And if there is no change, then
nothing. It's not event. No event.
So
it's only lines if something happened.
So you mean there will be empty?
Yes, it's just white pixel.
Okay, good. So just
The difference between the time
Yeah.
steps for you will be larger, that's it.
Okay.
So if we go to screen example.
Yeah, I understand that logically it would be plus or minus one, but it saves.
No, zero, it's true or false. Also, zero, one or zero in the original data.
What do you mean true or false? No.
It could be true or false.
What
It
is
means
true?
true is one, false is zero in
Yeah.
the original data.
But what is true for in your
True
data?
is, well, its intensity
Increases, and then false it doesn't increase. So it's not binary.
I just tell you what in the real data.
No, okay, I understand, but just it's
Okay,
slightly-
I understand your
True
confusion.
false is slightly misleading because if there is no change, what it is neither
Mhm.
true nor false. So it's
Mhm.
terminally logic now, not binary.
Okay, it could be.
Thank you, Sergey.
Yeah.
We move on, and the third presentation in this session is entitled Mitigating Seasonal Variance in GPS Denied Video Localization, presented by Bogdan Shevchuk. Sorry. I need to understand how to share this.
You probably should have a short
Course
mini
on
course.
present.
Greetings. My name is Bogdan Shevchuk, and today I will share with you my progress on my work on mitigation the seasonal variance in GPS denied UAV geolocalization. So first about the plan. We will cover the motivation, a little bit of background of what is done in the field. We will formulate the problem, cover the approach, and speak on the plan of research, what has been achieved, what are the early results, and the progress, and sum it up and look further into what will be done later. Okay, so first with motivation. UAVs now are essential in lots of branches, in military, logistics, civilian branches, and they rely heavily on GNSS for their navigation. But this creates a crucial vulnerability. And the ongoing war in Ukraine, it highlighted it because electronic warfare can simply jam the GPS signal, which causes the drone to lose orientation, or even spoof it so that the drone is fed with wrong coordinates, which can result in UAV going to places that are not wanted. Okay. And so we need alternatives that can be reliable, not only to rely on the GPS and GNSS. So cross-view geolocalization is one of the promising alternatives to such problem. The idea is simple. We want to match what the UAV camera sees against a georeferenced data set of satellite images. Deep learning has made great progress in learning features that are invariant to viewpoint differences between UAV and the satellite, no GPS needed. But there exists a critical gap in this work, seasonal appearance changes. imagine that your satellite reference map shows the summer, right? Green trees, green grass, and the model learned to map these summer views to the satellite. But in reality, the UAV will be flying in autumn or in winter with dramatic changes to the views with snow everywhere or brown foliage, etc. And this seasonal mismatch, it degrades the localization accuracy, and that is the gap that we want to cover with our work. Now, let me explain this a bit more formally. So we have a UAV image query at unknown location. And we have a gallery of satellite images that have their GPS coordinates, okay? And the goal is to retrieve the correct satellite image. The challenge is the huge viewpoint difference. So the UAV flies at 550, 300, even a little bit higher altitudes, but satellites, they capture their views from a lot higher altitudes. And as you can see from this figure adapted from dense UAV, same locations, so they can look very different from the UAV point and from the satellite imagery. And of course, there are lots of different aspects that affect these difference. Shadows, scale, lightning, different structures, so shifts in time, etc. The modern approaches formulate this as a metric learning problem. We want embeddings where we want to get embeddings of the UAV views and satellite views, and we want to match them in such a way that the matching ones are closer than non-matching ones. The loss function for this currently used as state of the art is info-NC, which is a contrastive loss with a temperature parameter that affects the scale. And in our work, we rely heavily on sample for Geo, which is our baseline. This is a framework that elevates the hard negative mining approach. How we choose the hard negative, the negatives, it affects the training and the performance greatly, as we don't need to feed very easy negatives one to the model. Okay, we need the hard ones. And sample for Geo does just that. It selects negatives that are here you could see that are either geographically close but visually very different, or such negatives that are geographically separated a lot, but visually close. And this provides a lot stronger training signal, okay? And we build on top of it. Now, briefly about the architecture evolution. The experiments within the field started with CME CNNs that used triplet loss. Then it moved on to the NetFlat aggregation that aggregated the batches and learned the how close these aggregations within them. Next, it was the vision transformers with transgeo, and later on, the hybrid architectures like MCCG. And actually, such MCCG is built upon the sample for Geo that adds another layer upon the hard negative sampling for interesting learning upon sample for Geo. But sample for Gale is the one that we use as our baseline because we want to address the problem of the seasonal variance. Okay, so what the issue is that existing datasets are almost entirely single season. And retrieval methods are never evaluated for cross-seasonal generalization. There is no systematic study on how to augment for seasonal robustness. And if this synthetical seasonal data from diffusion models can help. That is unknown. Actually, Kinari et al. Did work on seasonal invariant localization, but the difference is he addressed this problem as pose estimation of the orientation of the drone, and instead of he simplified the problem removing the viewpoint differences, and he compared to the ortho-projected viewpoints of UAVs with projecting them as batches on the map from the satellite. And it kind of simplifies the problem as it does not address the cross-view retrieval where you have both large viewpoint differences and seasonal variations. And that's where we cover this research gap. So we can formulate this, our object, into three research questions. First, how much does seasonal mismatch actually degrade accuracy? Second, can synthetic seasonal views generated by diffusion models improve robustness? And third, can we learn seasonal invariance from satellite to satellite pairs and transfer that to UAV satellite matching? And this leads us to our research hypothesis. So extending data sets with generated seasonal views improves cross-seasonal generation. Multi-control nets preserves geometric structure during transformation. This is about generation quality of our seasonal views. And third hypothesis, seasonal matching learned from satellite pairs transfers to the UAV satellite task. So what is our approach? First, we trained the baseline model from sample for Geo on 4 datasets. Next, we build a multi-control net pipeline to generate synthetic seasonal views. Third, we parse historical satellite data from Google Earth Engine, as it was before, but later on that to get real seasonal variations on satellites. And fourth, comprehensive evaluation comparing all approaches and how it affects their performance. So a bit about data sets. We highlighted 4 data sets. University 1652, which is a synthetic data set, but it has lots of images. The great problem is that it is synthetic. SUEZ 200, which has different heights captures of UAVs. Dense UAV, which is current state of the art, used in most of the works as it has a really high quality of satellite imagery and UAV imagery, and UAV Vizlog, which captures 11 flights in China region, and it has several seasons, both summer and autumn, but they do not, but these seasons relate to different flights, and we can't use them to evaluate our cross-seasonal performance. Now, about our generation pipeline, we estimate the depth of original image, which preserves 3D layout. We detect the edges, which preserves the structure of the image. And we feed these as well as our prompts into Stable Diffusion to generate seasonal transformations. Why multi-control net? because with depth only, the model has too much freedom. And other approaches, they showed poor performance, while multi-control nets shows the best one. Here you can see generation examples of winter and autumn, and we process our data set to generate both winter, autumn, and spring views. But what about hallucinations? We mitigate the hallucination by applying this gate that evaluates the generation quality after the generation. Initially, we wanted to use SSIM and edge consistency filters, but this proved not to be working the way intended, and we moved on to using edge F1 score, where we calculate how good we preserve the edges and structural consistency, and we use the embeddings from Dyna V2 that shows how similar our images. And as for historical satellite imagery, initially we wanted to use Google Earth Engine and extract Sentinel-2 imagery, but it proved to have a very bad performance, very bad quality. So we used ArcGIS provider that allows capturing the data from different great providers like Maxar in great quality, and we did just that. So where we are now, we got our baselines. We are in progress of generating these seasonal variations and parsing the satellite imagery. And upcoming is the comprehensive experiments on what we gathered so far and preparing this extended data set. And here you could just, let's actually just skip this and go on to conclusions. So yes, so we have our baseline done. We have prepared the pipeline for generation. We parsed the satellite imagery, and we are about to come to extensive experiments on the improvement, the mitigating of seasonal variance. Okay. Yeah, thank you for your attention.
Questions? Yes,
First questions.
Question. On the slide where you demoed the generated image, it seems like it was shot from a bigger altitude. Was it just the cropping or what? Can you go back to this slide? There's the generation sample. Yeah. If you look here, it seems that the generated image covers more area than the original. Just cropping incident or?
Yeah, that's only a cropping, and this is taken from DenseUAV dataset. It has like a little bit of different attitudes, like with 10 meters.
It's 100 meters. Yeah, very cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the question. So, but you said that there is no problem with satellite imagery for all 4 seasons, because you have it. The satellite flies all time around the Earth.
Not quite. Well,
what do you mean not quite? It fly. Do you challenge my last statement or the first one?
I challenge there is no problem with imagery. Yes, sorry, finish your question. I will address.
No, that's question.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to challenge that, because if there is no problem with getting ground truth satellite imagery, then what's your research is about? You can use this ground truth, and no matter what is the UAV footage, you just choose the proper seasonal satellite imagery.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, we don't always have the coverage. Actually, all these data sets, these are shot in China. And
What do you mean? What are you talking about? About UAV or satellite?
Satellite.
So satellite only flies over China, or
no. What I mean is, okay, let me formulate this differently. So in this China region, there are really mild changes to the seasonality. Okay, so from what we gathered, there are no real winters. It just mildly changes the vegetation color, haze, the atmosphere pressure, and suppose if we want to.
But excuse me.
Yeah.
Why are you using then these satellite imagery of so bad quality?
These are not of bad quality. These are just.
But for your purpose, it's not. It's poor. Yeah, it has no seasonal variability enough for you to solve the task efficiently. So why are you using those?
It still will help remove the reliance of the model on specific coloring of one instance of the satellite imagery present in the data set. So we have more views in different coloring, different atmospheric pressure, which distorts the image with different structural changes over the years, which will improve the generation. And as well, it will help as an additional positive so we will feed both generated views as positive samples for our contrastive learning pipeline, and this will make our model more robust to the changes in the satellite imagery and what it actually sees. So it pays more attention to the structures and not the coloring, not the seasonality whatsoever.
Okay. My second question is, you mentioned some work already done, but only for ortho projections.
Yes.
But if you have a UAV footage, you typically have IMU on the board, so you can the angle of the camera footage, and you can auto rectify it and use the results of that work.
Yes, I guess so. But well, first it would I believe we would need a lot more additional data from
No, ortho rectification is a simple task.
It's a simple. Yeah, okay. I guess it is worth checking the results, but I believe that our approach would be more robust by being able to handle the oblique projections as well. So we don't really rely on our inner metrics from the UAV.
But in any case, for many tasks, including localization, one also rectifies the image just to understand better where the actual UAV is.
Well, this will be like the difference is that we want to learn the how close our satellite and UAV imagery to match these patches. While in that work, if I recall correctly, they learn. They do this iterative task where they try to find the best batch of ortho projected image with the satellite imagery, and the main metric that they use is the time taken to find this batch over the iteration, how fast it converges. So I believe it is worth checking the like time constraints on large georeference database versus the approach that we are pursuing.
Okay, and well, just final comment. I think that the problem is artificial because you never start flying in the summer and end up in the winter. Yeah, so
Even it's just
yeah,
Sorry.
so it means that if you are flying in the summer, just load the imagery, satellite imagery from that season. You don't need 4 seasons simultaneously because you know what weather conditions you are flying at.
at least the date.
At least the date, yes. So isn't it artificial problem?
Well, I think
Okay, it's just rhetorical.
Just one more time question to dig deeper into this rabbit hole. Just imagine that Elon Musk is your closest buddy for an experiment deliberately. Just imagine that you have the coverage you need to use direct satellite images taken millisecond ago. Why do you need seasonal changes? You just take it by Starlink, compare with what your camera sees, and well, do what you have to do.
Well,
With good quality, by the way.
well, I believe it is. It all comes to resources available, as satellite imagery is not cheap at all, and the approach I pursued to obtain this imagery, it is purely for research purposes.
Okay, I understand. Elon Musk is not that close kind of you. And you have to have more resources. Then we have plan B together with the Rostesla. You just upload the needed imaging part of the imagery for this very season taken a week ago, and do the same.
well,
Why do you need seasonal changes?
well, I think we shifted to discussion from questions, and
Yeah.
I think
sorry,
like we provided a lot of let's say food for thought for Bogdan, and yeah, thank you for the presentation.
Just to add, I'm quite sure that the questions of this sort would be expected at the defense.
Yeah, sure.
Be prepared. Thank you.
So the next presentation will be multimodal meme analysis for propaganda content detection by Nazar Andrushko. This is so scary.
Certainly should be. Should be evolve your increase your stress resistance.
Okay, let's start. So, hello, my name is Nazar, and today I will present my work about multimodal meme analysis for propaganda content detection. This is a joint project with my advisor Veronika Solopova from Technical University at Berlin. Here's what we will cover. First of all, we start with motivation, why this matters, and why we even want to do this. Second, we go to the related work, what has been done, what approaches exist. Then we go to the research gaps and questions that we found. And later we cover our approach, dataset, and L results. First of all, why do you even care about this? From my point of view, memes have become a huge part of our communication in our society. They combine image, text, they are concise, emotional, and highly shareable. Therefore, they spread virally. They are fastly consumed, they bypass our critical evaluation. Additionally, they rely on shared cultural knowledge. If you're in some community, you instantly understand it. If you are not, you don't. But memes are not always about peace and flowers. Sometimes they contain some additional messages, some additional intents. Propaganda detection is generally speaking, formulated as a task for multimodal classification, multi-label classification, when we have some image, text, and we want to assign it to a couple of labels. In this specific example, we have like quite obviously a propagandistic meme, but we have here four labels. First one is name calling, when we basically discredit someone, when we basically label someone to discredit them without evidence. We have smears, when we attack their reputation. Then we have loaded language, when we use basically some highly emotional words such as hate, a terrorist, and so on. And then we have the last one, which is basically about associating a person with some bad group. Let's move on, and the question is why I struggled with it. Like we had classification tasks on images for years now, and what basically differs it from the ImageNet. So I would point three distinctions here. First one is sarcasm and irony. The intended meaning of a meme of this image does not equal the literal content of the text that we have there. A lot of models fail here, more advanced models does not, but this is not cheap, this is expensive to use better quality models, and so on. Then we move to cultural context or context in general. A meme is obvious to one group, might be meaningless to another. We need some shared background knowledge that varies across communities, languages, and timelines. Again, if we imagine that we have some meme about a recent event, current models will unlikely detect it properly because they might know about what about it is. And then we have multimodal interplay. We might have same image, different text, different result. This is quite important because neither modality is sufficient to detect all of the techniques. Let's move to the approaches that we have nowadays. Currently, I would group them into three separate groups. First one is fusion-based, which basically says we have image encoder, text encoder, we get embeddings from them, fuse, pass it into classification head, and here we are. Second one is using VLMs or LLMs, which is much simpler approach. Just ask an LLM, send it to me, ask it, is it propagandistic, which technique it has. And the last one is hybrid, when we basically combine the best of both worlds. Usually it is done via augmenting the input, adding some, enriching the data, or doing something else with data. Let's look in more details onto these groups. The first crucial work was done by Dimitrov and others in 2021. They created a benchmark called Propaganda 950 with 950 memes, 22 techniques. They used visual back model, which is a multimodal model, enriched 50% of micro F1. This is good, but the issue is that the micro F1 is like terrible. It is only 12%. The model just predicts the most frequent classes and ignores the others. Other significant input from them was that based on the research, they showed that 17% of the techniques are basically invisible without image. The second result here is from Gondabo and Bamidi. They basically had the same thing. They used again this fusion, again a multimodal but different models. They used Roberta's, they used VGG. They made the fusion itself better because they used I forgot how it is called. They basically made a search how to fuse it better and therefore achieved a better result. But crucial input from them was that image modality added only 3 points to the overall classification score and overall classification performance. And this is not good because from one paper we have that image modality is important. From another we have we added it, but it does not give us much. So I guess we will skip the third paper, but basically to sum up these fusion-based approaches, the story is as follows. We have that modality matters. We don't know why it doesn't contribute. Models ignore rare techniques, but perform somewhat good on more high-frequent cases. Another approach is VLMs and LLMs. So the question is, what if we just throw the meme to the LAM and ask it directly, okay, what is it? So the first one that I want to mention here is by Jose. He said that this is not directly related to memes, but I had to acknowledge this research. They tested the GPT-4 model on news articles, specifically for propaganda techniques, and they found out that, well, zero-shot models perform terrible. They have only 16% macro F1. This is not acceptable. By comparison, fine-tuned Roberta-style model had roughly 70% of the same metric. So there is a huge gap. Another paper by Hassanin and others showed that LLMs perform quite well when the question is it propaganda or not? But when the granularity of the task increases, meaning we ask about not whether it is propaganda or not, but about techniques, but about spans, the performance drops dramatically. However, the second paper here said that by Kwanaisi and others said that okay, but we can fine-tune models. They fine-tuned a couple of different models to test how it improves the overall score. I find this second paper quite interesting because they fine-tuned it not only for classification but also for explainability. And as they said, explainability was crucial to improve the model overall performance. Initially, they started with Llama model reaching about 13% on zero-shot task, and later then they fine-tuned it and achieved roughly 72-80% on the same task, but binary only. Okay, let's move on this. Then we have hybrid approaches. As I said, the basic idea is to enrich the data or get more additional data to train fusion-based approaches. The first paper here from Mahmoud and others.
Sorry for interrupting, but I would suggest to skip diving deep into
Okay.
not work because we
Okay.
don't have.
So, okay, I will just cover it as a summary. So the idea here was that increasing the enriching data for fusion-based approaches via LLM or LLMs dramatically improves performance of these models. This is caused by the higher level of abstraction from LLMs because they can get more meaning from the image, more meaning from the text. They can interpret it, but they may interpret it falsely. Therefore, the question arises, even if we have this approach, can we trust the explanations that we get from the, for instance, LLMs or others or other approaches? Regarding research gaps, so I will highlight 5 research gaps that we found. The first one is obviously detection performance. It is quite low. Rare techniques are not detected properly. This is an issue. Second one, benchmarks are totally dominated by English datasets. Sometimes they contain Arabic dataset, but there is no Ukrainian, there is no Eastern Slavic languages at all. The third point is that we can generate explainability from the VLMs, and it was shown that we can fine-tune them for this. However, the overall faithfulness of this is unknown. Yes, we can do this, but we don't know whether it works. First point here is that we cannot use them reliably, and this was not investigated. But what about calibration? Like the model might say, "Well, I am 90% sure that this is correct," but we have no idea whether it is actually correct in the 90% of cases. And the last one is cultural blindness. Again, model treats memes as isolated instances. This is not okay. Moving to our research questions, we formulate 3 research questions. The first one is about explainability and faithfulness. Whether the verbalized explanations from LLM. First of all, we will target LLMs and VLMs only. So we ask this question whether we can believe the verbalized explanations of LLMs here. So we want to compare LRP attributions, which is model internal attributions, with verbalized ones. Then we go on to calibration. We ask the questions whether the better calibrated model is more faithful, whether the better calibrated model gives more performance, and what we can do about that to improve the calibration overall. The last one is about cross-lingual, cross-cultural transfer. How does performance degrade across linguistic and cultural contexts? Since we don't have that much data about different languages, different cultures, we need to assume that, at least we assume that the biggest gap of the performance when we transfer to a different language is in the culture itself, not in the language. Now regarding our approaches. For the explainability, we basically have this idea that okay, let's take a meme, pass it into the VLM, get the internal attributions of the model, then we will know which tokens were the most important. On the other side, we can ask the LLM, okay, what tokens, what words you find the most important? Then we want to compare the agreement. Here we want to test it across different input modalities, text only, image only, and multimodal. Now regarding the third question, so here we want to define that understand whether the performance actually drops because of the cultural context or because of the language. So we start with the propaganda 950 dataset. We translate it to the Ukrainian language, and we also collect the native Ukrainian dataset of the same propaganda techniques. In such way, we can track whether the issue is the language itself or it is a cultural effect. So as I said, we have this propaganda 950 dataset, but in our work we primarily want to focus. We at least want to introduce two additional datasets: Ukrainian, which is new and same techniques, but different, as I said, cultural context. And we want to use translated dataset from the propaganda 950, which will be used in the previous search question. We started about early results. We started by evaluating the open source visual language model. We tested it across 4 different conditions. 3 are for testing, probing the importance of each modality, and the last one is to just understand whether we can really trust the some of the paper claims. First one was just zero shot. We just take meme, send it to VLM, take the performance. Second one was using instead of adding a meme and text overlay on it, we add image and text separately. Therefore, we can just be more precise about how model uses the text input. Third one is when we use no image, basically just text, and the last one is just to allow the model interpret the meme for a little bit longer, to use just as a common technique to evaluate the performance. Our early results are as showed here. So we clearly see that micro F1 stays, generally speaking, lower, but macro F1 stays higher and higher noticeably. The most interesting result here for me, at least, is that chain of thought, as was proposed by some of the papers, did not improve the performance of the detection overall, but actually decreased it. We assume that it was because of the error accumulation during reasoning, and it just happened so. And additional things that I want to mention here is that compared to the state of the art on this specific dataset, we did not see the same tendencies as with the visual BERT, for example, meaning some specific techniques were actually more often detected than not compared to the results. I guess this is it from my side. You may ask questions now.
Please. I'll go return to the previous slide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that QN 3 billion is the best judging by micro F1 scores. For example, plus VGG is better.
I didn't.
Visual BERT is better.
You mean about
My correct method is F1 score.
it is correct. It is better. So at this stage, we wanted to evaluate the
It says ours best. For curve 3 UDL 8 billion plus.
I mean,
GT.
it is meant to be like ours best result, the best result from us, not from the.
Okay. So the first two are not from you,
Mhm,
and the last 4 are from you.
mhm.
Okay, this is clear. Thank you very much. I'm done.
So, Zari, you mentioned that you translated propaganda 950
Mhm.
to Ukrainians. You selected 200 of best memes.
So okay.
And yeah, I haven't finished yet. So actually, as you mentioned, these memes are culturally grounded.
Mhm.
And for instance, there was some example of translation which I couldn't get either in English nor Ukrainian.
Mhm.
So are you sure that when you translate these memes from English text to Ukrainian, they are still memes?
So okay, I will answer the question. This was not actually a part of early results, but made a little bit later. So I wanted just to showcase as example for you to understand. But our initial plan, so propaganda 950 is split across has three splits: train, validation, and test set. We use that test set, which contains 200 images, but again, this is not actually covered by our early results, but after we have translated them automatically, we manually select them to drop the bad cases. Sometimes the translation is bad, sometimes the text overlay is also bad. Sometimes, since when we actually want to translate the meme, we need to remove the original text from it. We also need to somehow like blur it or do whatever there. And this also introduces some image artifacts. So after our translation pipeline, what we actually do, we selected good examples to address this issue.
But the point is not in the visual quality degradation due to,
I mean, we
not in the quality of the translation, but just as a fact that something which is well understood for American audience or Canadian audience has no cultural.
Yes, but this doesn't
at
have
all.
to be like culturally appealing for us, because like model, imagine just model knows about.
Can you show some examples of these transfer?
Okay, just imagine like.
So I don't understand
I
this.
I also don't know these people, like, but this is an image.
Why do
the data set? Okay, then we have like.
But it can be perfect translation, but it conveys not absolutely it not emo it arises rose no absolutely no emotion from my side. I don't understand at all this picture, so it's not meme for me. So if you included these and translate it into Ukrainian, then certainly nobody could understand that.
Well, this translation has to carry the same pragmatic signal to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the trickiest thing in meme translation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
therefore, one of the most serious disadvantages of this presentation is just the absence of the presentation of translation methodology. How did you do that? How many people contributed to that? Two of those people were the native speakers in what languages? What were their pragmatic and cultural backgrounds? All this is important for describing the methodology.
And also who evaluated the quality of the memes
And
after translation? How many people? Yes.
What was the discord rate?
Well, if you allow me to, my 2 cents is so actually you should actually pay attention to the third one, to the third one row, and the second one was as Nazar said to distinguish like a context and text. So obviously, as you highlighted, in this second row, there is no context, there is only text. And we can, by diverging this, we can check if, how does algorithm performs between different languages. If we take 2 rows, for example, for 2 columns, first one and the second one, and if you take the first one and the third one, this is different cultural contexts. So this is how I got this.
Yeah. So what's the relation
Two
between the first and
two different axes of comparison. The first one is the cultural context, and the second one is language. This is how I got it. So. But okay, we can.
Thank you. This was what I was intending to speak to tell.
And also, at some moment, you were describing your methodology, or maybe some other previous approaches, which treated separately visual and textual context. But meme doesn't exist without these two. So only picture, only image is not meme, and only text is not meme. Is the combination?
Maybe this was miscommunication from my side. I assume you mean fusion-based approaches.
Yes, maybe you said.
I mean, there is like two different parts. The first one, this is a common approach used in like machine learning, deep learning. We pass these two modalities into separate backbones. The first one is for image only, second one is for text only. They somehow interpret it. As the output, we receive like latent vector, embedding vector, or whatever, something like this. Then we pass this to like dense, hopefully meaningful vectors into another model, like logistic regression, like some other deep learning model, or a simple classification head. Simultaneously we pass them, and we assume that the latest model sort of combines the meaning from the image and from the text.
And expresses it in which form?
Okay, I think
But this
given that I am a session chair,
sorry.
I propose to wrap up the session. Thank you, Nazar. This is counterintuitive to me because my assumption is that as time of listening to presentations grows, my assumption is that like participation activity should go down, but we kind of show reverse trend.
Is there anybody volunteering to be the next month?
Yes. So the concluding presentation of the last session and also of the Master Symposium will be delivered by Maxim Yuryevko, and it's entitled Recognition of Ukrainian Handwritten Texts.
Ja to muszę coś ustalić.
I haven't said that you don't yet, so thank you very much. This is for the privilege. So yeah, the theme of my presentation is recognition of Ukrainian handwritten text. I am advised by Yuri Paniv, who is a developer of LLM, so I have an LLM-based research.
Motivation. Written text, recognizing written text is a very challenging task. It combines multiple different smaller tasks, like small object detection, because the characters can be arbitrarily small or large. It can have multiple scales, and the handwriting of different people is ridiculously different. For example, you can have some doctors writing, and you can fail to recognize it by yourself. But we want for the computers to reach this final part of human to computer interaction. There were many advancements made with the visual language models, which are kind of a big thing right now. And that progress was leaves out Ukrainian language, because not too many people have researched it before, and not too many people research it now. Some commercial services promise us a good recognition of Ukrainian and in written and printed text, but they sometimes fail. And they may fail for the following reasons. Ukrainian text contains lots of diacritics, so the dots in letters E, here, and the apostrophes, which can be easily confused with the background noise. And some letters form so-called fences of just like you when written next to each other. I will show the demo a bit later. There are many approaches. There are not too many approaches to HDR. There is online HDR and offline HDR. Online HDR is performed while you actively write, so you can use a special pen and a digitizer, and the computer would recognize the text as it's written. And there's also offline HDR that processes the already written text, maybe scanned, maybe photographed, but the difference is that it is already written, and it can be interpreted in one pass. There are also approaches that use segmentation, and there are approaches that are holistic. Segmentation requires a separate algorithm that first processes the image into some segments. These can be words, these can be lines, or even the paragraphs. But you have two algorithms, and you have more failure points. So there are also holistic approaches, and the holistic approaches are now the state of the art. So you can pass the whole image of a page, and it will process it without a separate block that would do some segmentation. Also, the character levels of segmentation is affected by so-called Sayre's paradox, which means that to be recognized, to recognize a specific character, you have to read the whole word, but to read the whole word, you have to first read every character. So you would be better off recognizing all words, not specific characters. This is the Sayre's paradox. OCR systems, I use the terms OCR and HDR interchangeably here, because OCR is a generic term related to any character recognition, and HDR is used only for handwritten text. So OCR systems can be evaluated using character error rate measure. It only compares the ground truth text to the recognized text. It uses so-called string distance, which is the nominator in this part, and it normalizes it by the ground truth length, or the maximum of ground truth to predicted string length. Also, people use word error rate as a separate metric, which does the same thing as character error rate, but on the level of words. And the current state of the art for English handwritten text recognition is close to 2.4% character error rate. Sadly, the character error rates can be compared between different languages, because different languages contain different amounts of the diacritics, or have some other specificities that make some languages easier or harder to recognize. Yeah. VLMs for OCR are the hot new solution to all problems. VLM is a large language model that has a special vision block. These VLMs allow us to do segmentation-free recognition, also known as holistic recognition. And this allows us to train the visual language models end-to-end. We need only the image-to-text pairs without segmentation into line, words, or paragraphs. Some VLMs can be also specialized for OCR tasks. There are many tricks that they use, and this allows them to achieve better performance than generic visual language models like ChatGPT or Gemma or Gemini by using much fewer parameters. For example, this is the scheme for the pedal OCR model. It uses some tricks that allow it to focus more on the specific areas of the text, which allows it to use dynamic resolution without us needing to pre-process the image for it to produce good results. And some of these specialized models, they can also recognize structures like tables, formulas, charts, reading orders, for example, when you have two-column academic text, and other neat features. State-of-the-art for English for printed character recognition is as follows. As you can see, the specialized visual language models achieve lower character error rates than the much larger generic visual language models. And let's talk a bit about the changes, specific challenges in the Ukrainian share. We accept that letter E is unique to Ukrainian language, so it can't be easily transferred from other languages. And we have a lot of diacritics which can be easily confused with background noise. We also Spanish. Okay, maybe this needs a citation. Also, we have the problem with the fencing. These are the words pinecone and mouse, and I've asked a number of different models what do they think these are these words. Most of them believe that these are two similar words. Only the Gemini 3 Flash recognized correctly. And what surprised me the most that Mistral OCR, even though it claims that it supports Ukrainian, it outputs Latin gibberish. So we have to do something on our own about that. Related research is scarce for the Ukrainian OCR. The most notable work is handwritten text recognition of Ukrainian manuscripts in the 21st century. It is the most notable work, but it has some problems. It uses unpublished data set called unpublished data set. It also doesn't provide a model which can be tested. It is hosted on the Transcribus platform. It works well, but you can't evaluate it without paying for the third-party API. You can download the model and do your own testing. And why I would want to test this model is because it reports a very tiny evaluation set, which is only 3% of total pages, which can hide the signs of overfitting. There are some works that provide the data sets. For example, there is a recent upload of Ukrainian exams called Ukrainian Handwritten Text. This work is yet to be published because it's a bachelor student from Kyiv University who also does their own research. And this dataset contains scanned pages as I've shown to the right. So the ground truth for this dataset is very straightforward. It is provided, and the images are already provided in normalized form, binarized, and they can be easily used for training. And also there is a private mail dataset provided by RAC. It has around 600 private letters authored by 150 people. It was also used in this first work, but suddenly this dataset can be published. But it was can be provided to me by the debug community. So the research goals that I set for myself is to collect OCR and HTR datasets. I've since expanded my work to include also printed character recognition because I found a gold mine of easy to use images to text mappings on the Wikisource platform. I want to prepare reproducible HTR and OCR benchmarks by feeding back improved annotations in a specific way to Grok community, and to use this work by Anna Hmetiuk, Ukrainian written text, and separate it into some kind of frame and test sets based on the authors. I would like to evaluate existing solutions because it seems that they suffer from different issues, and I would like to fine-tune my own visual language model. The printed dataset was scraped from the Wikisource platform. It allows for scraping. I'm not I do everything in the term it allows scraping in the user agreement. This dataset is annotated by volunteers, and as of right now, there are around 130,000 pages that are annotated and marked as proofread. However, the wiki-specific markup, which can be seen in the middle column, hinders the complete automation of the process because there are some tools that can parse this wiki source markup, but some specific blocks have to be added manually. So there was a lot of manual addition of these blocks to tell the algorithm how to handle these these specific markings. As of now, I've collected the following datasets. I have around 4,000 pages of wiki source. I have since expanded this about 4 times. There are only 28 different books, that's why I decided to expand the wiki source, the printed text. Grok Mail contains 150 authors and around 4,000 pages. And the Ukrainian written text is really a really good thing to have because it contains 350 different authors with a comparable amount of pages per author. So my future work is to compare the different tools that are available to separate the collected data sets in to perform the evaluation of the tools that are available on the data sets I've collected, and to fine-tune my own visual language model. I also want to acknowledge the Euro HPC organization that provided me with access to their computing hardware. And thanks for your time, and I'm ready for your questions.
Yeah. So, Yuri.
Maxim.
Yuri, Maxim, Yuri. Okay. Maxim, yeah. Why? My first suggestion is to approach the organizers of National Diktant because they have millions of handwritten copies of the text which is
Yeah, I thought about that, but I have some inside information that they don't want to provide it, or they have this information. I have some inside information about that, and I would very much like to include it, but I think I am better off with the Ukrainian written text which is provided on Kaggle, because people make less mistakes there, and it is more normalized. Because there are some cases when people write on some napkins these national dictats, but yeah, that's a very correct.
but you can just proof read, so to say, to decide if you want to include it into your.
Yeah,
That's the first. Second, look, I don't know what Greg has, but there are lots of in libraries, they have lots of handwritten text by some writers or scientists and so on, which has been printed. So you have perfect alignment, actually. So why not? Because one of the main contribution of your work will be dataset creation. So why are you not trying to create a good data set?
The main problem that I've encountered is that I already have too much data to annotate. That's really a big problem because the dataset by Hack isn't separated into single pages, so I already did a lot of data annotation. Maybe you are right, and
there are lots of printed version of books, say Shevchenko's Kobzar, which has one page of handwritten original and then text.
Okay. Maybe that was a blunder from my side to not contact them. Because one of the works actually mentioned that they contacted the Vernadsky library.
Yes.
But they've only contacted them for 2 or 3 poems, which were handwritten, so I didn't pursue that track because I wanted to have at least something, and I can do this dataset by back already. And I had this idea for the wiki source, so I wanted to freeze the freeze amount of data I have to annotate.
Okay, so you first created the problem and then spend lots of time to overcome it. Okay, and the second, you mentioned that these paradox or
yes, Cyrus paradox.
Yes, and you said that in order to recognize a letter, one has to situate it inside the word, but in order to recognize the word, one has to recognize each letter. It's wrong because you have to only to parse it. The word is something which is between two blank spaces.
Yeah, it's this paradox only arises when you do
Arabic
or not Arabic. No. When we go back to this example with Shishka and you have first you can't know which of these letters is letter A because before you recognize that this word is Shishka. So you have to recognize this whole word before you can separate it into characters. This is this paradox because when you write character by character, but you can't recognize character by character because these characters
when they are not in the context of the whole word, they are a bit meaningless. So they have meaning only when you recognize when you have recognized the whole word.
But you don't have so many variants here, so you do you recognize A, you recognize K, and
Yeah,
then
when you recognize A and K, it works well for these characters, but is there you can't recognize between sh and I, and maybe you can have some letter E hidden here, where the small dots about E isn't recognized. So you're better off recognizing the whole word before separating.
But look,
characters.
it is recognizing of a text, not of a characters.
Yeah.
So you have to suggest recognition which has a meaning. And there are not so many variants to associate with these written word. So it's just
Well, what I wanted to say that the artificial intelligence can be thought of some black box, and we can't make this black box predict at character level. It has to predict some other entity other than a character, because if we crop this word to only letter E, it is just a letter A. And when we write the word Shishka, it consists of both letters Sh and I that are next to each other, and they can't be separated before you recognize the meaning of the whole word.
yeah, certainly it's not on the character level, but on the word as unit which has a sense.
Yes.
I think sentence level would also be helpful.
Yes. Sentence level as well.
Yeah, that's why actually
Reducing variant.
we would like to use language models, because they have some prior understanding what the language is. It makes them not very useful when you detect some serial codes or some other gibberish which isn't words. This is a separate question that some of these visual language models solve, but for the real handwriting, it works like that.
And last suggestion: go to schools and ask teachers for permission to use the without certain names.
Copies of the dictation.
Dictations.
I actually know that Huku provided some works to some ministry which will prepare some hackathon. So maybe I'm already too late with that. But as of now, this is the.
This should have been proactive before that.
Okay, so does anybody wants to ask a final, let's call it killer question?
That's your. Just want to say I don't understand that.
Okay, then let's thank Maxim.
As a command, "yi" is not unique to Ukrainian because it also appears in French and
different variations in French, in German,
in German one has
Spanish.
umlauts A and U, but not the
Not even mentioning Jersey and Jersey.
Okay, I think
Whichever one.
so we survived this today challenge, and it was really interesting to listen to all of your diploma project proposals, and kind of I think that you can convert all the comments you have heard, all the thoughts you have heard, and also do like draw some conclusions by listening others' presentations to make your diploma defense projects really great. So please treat all the commands that you have heard as let it be a food for your thoughts to improve your works. And for example, if some questions were asked, it means that maybe you didn't clarify that information during your presentation. And so when you will be working on your diploma projects, try to look at them from different perspective, because you as principal investigators, right, you when you are working in this context, everything seems clear to you, but you have to kind of separate like diploma project work from diploma presentations and make them really clear to others. And I personally believe that you have everything to make your diploma project presentations great. So thank you everyone for attending. It was a pleasure meeting all of you here and seeing some attendance, like attending 2 days, even though they have like was scheduled for say 27th, but they come for 27 and 28, so it was really nice. Yeah. Yeah, thank you again, and thank online audience too for listening to us. See you.
Процеси написання роботи презентація.
Ну, це не різні процеси, але я мав на увазі, що
Важко зробити гарну презентацію, якщо немає нічого. Але можна зробити погану презентацію, навіть якщо є найкраща робота. Це того такого.